platform at East Bus Station, have it in Woolies, have it in Parham, before the people voted you in. But not 8 months after you come and you tell us we need austerity, we need to tighten our belts, and everybody has to pay their fair share. Madam Speaker, the ALP, as far back as 1999, in our manifesto, we predicted this. And with your permission, I quote, we said, Madam Speaker, on page 2 in the ALP's 1999 manifesto, choosing the UPP is opting for more taxes and unemployment. In the absence of an investment that the people will need to maintain and improve their standard of living and the quality of life, the UPP will have to reintroduce personal income tax and other taxes to pay for the cost of their government. To pay for this, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition said it's $300 million that this is going to cost the people of this country. Where are you going to get it from? You think Uncle Alan going to give you all? He's not going to give you all. And rest assured, Mr. Prime Minister, he's going to extract his pound of flesh. And he's going to extract it. And the people that voted you into office, they know that. They know that. And that is why that Desta Jah resigned as General Secretary of the UPP, Madam Speaker. Because he's saying they stand for no principle. They flip-flop. They're like Perry.
Worse.
They're worse than him, Madam Speaker. And I haven't heard the Prime Minister say one single word about Desta Jah resigning. He campaigned up and down in the streets of Parham against me for Central Joanne Messiah. But I commend him and I applaud him. He's a principled man, yes. And he stands on principle that he can have the courage to resign as General Secretary. A matter of principle, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, the UPP has done exactly as the ALP predicted that it would do. They're going to lay off 2,000 to 2,600 public servants, somewhere in that vicinity. 15,000 homeowners in this country will now be required to go and pay market value. We remove market value, it's very subjective. And we said replacement cost is a more fair, more equitable. And don't tell me the market value is going to cost less, because you have upped the figures, the projected figures in the revenue for property tax by $4 million. So it's not just compliance. It's that the system of market value is subjective, and you know it's going to yield you more than replacement value. So 15,000 homeowners will pay more for property taxes. And every single time the 42,000 registered adults in this country go to any shop or store, they'll be slapped with 5% sales tax. 5% sales tax will be added to every single purchase. Every single purchase, Madam Speaker. We'll all be poorer, including the government. That is not the way, Madam Speaker, to fix a fiscal shortfall. That is not the way economic growth. And the honourable member knows this. That's what hurts me. He has a doctorate from Dalhousie University in economics. And he knows better. But he wants to please the IMF and the World Bank pinstripe suit boys. He wants to show that he's fiscally responsible. The UPP government, Madam Speaker, will discover the truth. They'll discover the truth the hard way. And in the months leading up to March 2004, we all know that the Antigua Labour Party administration had difficulty meeting salaries and wages, and we were unable to pay salaries on time. We know that. This single shortcoming, Madam Speaker, led many voters in this country to incorrectly conclude that the government, and more so the then Minister of Finance, did not perform to standard. But, Madam Speaker, a shortfall in revenue in any country is normal in every state throughout the world. Except for Norway, I believe, with the millions of dollars from the sale of the North Sea oil. They don't have no shortfall. But in every single English, Dutch, French, and Spanish-speaking island of the Caribbean, they've experienced a shortfall in revenue at some point. And the UPP government will experience a shortfall. A year ago, the UPP exploited this shortcoming that we could not pay salaries, and they campaigned upon it, and they succeeded. Madam Speaker, and even after the then Minister of Finance, now Leader of the Opposition, we put into place the system that they're piggyback riding on now. Robin Yearwood went, the Honourable Member for St. Philip North, And he sat with all the bank managers and he negotiated a package where we would have a facility for 6 months and roll it over for the next 6 months. And he demonstrated that it worked. And they're using that facility. But they're not coming to this honourable house and to the country and telling the people that is the facility that was put into place by Robin Haywood that they're using to pay salaries every month. 1 year from today, though, Madam Speaker, mark my word, the UPP will still be unable to pay salaries. And 1 year from today, and 2 years from today, and 5 years from today, they will still blame the previous ALP administration. They will still blame the ALP for their failure. Despite all the increasing property taxes, despite the increasing policing in compliance of collection of taxes, despite the massive layoffs that they propose, despite the reduction in government workforce, Madam Speaker, this UPP administration, 1 year and 5 years from now, will still curse the previous Antigua-Labour Party. Get on with the job of running the country. Every single week, all the Prime Minister does is read a speech and feed us a diet of cursing and slandering and making substantial, unsubstantiated allegations against former members of the ALP government. Get on, go and attract foreign investment, bring more Alan Stanfords to the country. The UPP's failing fiscal and economic policies, Madam Speaker, will undoubtedly cause people to revert to the informal and underground economy. It will also cause foreign exchange to leave the country and go to jurisdictions that are more welcoming. And I understand, I don't know how true it is, that the UPP administration also intends next year to tax interest income, Madam Speaker, on savings, and to tax interest income on fixed deposits. But I want to warn the Honourable Minister of Finance, if there's any truth into that, you're going to have an immediate fleeing of capital out of our banking system. And it may even cause the banking system to collapse, because people are going to take their money out, and you've already removed the restriction of the foreign exchange levy. So I really hope that that's not going to happen. But, Madam Speaker, this saltfish government, this UPP administration, because they're reducing the cost of saltfish, they have decided to reverse intelligent governance. Intelligent governance by some of the best managers that ever managed this country, Madam Speaker, over the last 28 years. And they have opted for a model of economic and fiscal governance that have not succeeded any pace in the world and is bound to fail. Madam Speaker, I promise you that when the ALP said in 1999 in our manifesto that in the absence of investors, the UPP will reintroduce personal income tax, we knew what we were saying back then. We knew what we were saying this year in 2004. Where is the scores of investors that the UPP has promised? They told us that these investors are lining up to come to Antigua and Barbuda. Prior to March the 23rd, there were none. There were none, Madam Speaker. They said because we were so corrupt that we could not attract no investors to this country, that we stymied the economic growth of the country. But now, all of a sudden, Alan Stanford has become the rescue of this country. Alan Stanford, that the same UPP government vilified, humiliated, cursed, demonized, that is who they're embracing. But you know that the truth is, Madam Speaker, the Honourable Minister of Finance and the Honourable Member for St. Philip South, whilst the Honourable Prime Minister was on his trip to China, Alan Stanford flew down here and met with them. And the member for St. John's Wood East knows that if he does not jumpstart this economy, that if he does not infuse substantial new monies in the economy in 2005, that his goose is cooked. His saltfish will rot. Its packaging will be exposed to rot. And so desperation at a great political cost set in, Madam Speaker. And he sought and successfully convinced the man member for St. Philip South, the Honorable Deputy President.